Greetings! Manta-Ray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty, let's begin. Pressing the A button now.
Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days.
Loading game and proceeding. And here we are in the main menu, off the edit deck menu. And now for today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Dragon Empire's Dragonic Overlord D-BT07. Alrighty, let's begin. So let's go to the edit deck, entering edit deck, and off we go. Here we are in the edit deck menu. And like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building today's deck profile video is a Dragon Empire's Dragonic Overlord deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT07. Okie dokie, let's begin. So first, let's go to the filter settings and to pack, show only cards from D-BT01, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT02, A Brush of the Legends, D-BT03, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT04, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT05, Triumphant Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Promo Pack number 1, and then D-BT6, Blazing Dragon Reborn, and finally D-BT07, Blaze Reborn Blaze of the Emerald Storm. And apply filter, and alright. So next, let's get up with the deck's Grade 3 lineup. And now, here we are in the deck's Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s in this deck, we are playing the right deck, Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard or Rearguard. During the battle, this unit attacks a Rearguard. Your opponent cannot call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle. And second skill, auto as a Vanguard once per turn. When this unit attack hits, cost Counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord, it's one of the main Grade 3s to play in this deck. Its skills, the first skill, as a Vanguard or Rearguard, whenever attacking the opponent's Rearguard, your opponent cannot guard cards from their hand, making the first skill a good way to either ensure the second skill of Dragonic Overlord or to at least make it easier to wipe out your opponent's field of rear guards. And the second skill, as long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can restand your Vanguard Overlord for another attack. And alright, the Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, we have one in the right deck. Leaving it that way, next up, the Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord The End. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, if your soul has a Dragonic Overlord, this unit's drive cannot decrease from card effects and it gets plus 5,000 power. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. Cost, Counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards from your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord The End, another one of the main Grade 3s to play in this deck. With its skills, the first skill, as long as the conditions of the first skill are met, not only does your Vanguard get an additional 5,000 power, but also its drive check cannot be reduced, making it a good way to get a better chance of getting triggers or to at least increase your hand size with the additional checks you get. And the second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met and you pay the cost, you can restand your Vanguard The End for another attack. And okie dokie, so for the Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord The End, we have 4 in the deck. Leaving it that way, and already, that just about covers the deck's Grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's Grade 2 lineup. And now, for the deck's Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s in this deck, we are playing right deck, Grade 2, Dragon Knight Nehalem. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is rode upon by an Overlord, if it's in his card name, call this card to Rearguard Circle. Second skill, action as a Rearguard once per turn. If you have a Vanguard of Overlord in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, this unit and all of your Vanguards gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Dragon Knight Nehalem, he's one of the main Grade 2s to ride in this deck. Its skills, the first skill, By riding an Overlord on top of him, you can then superior call Nehalem from your soul to the rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the game. Second skill. As long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to add power to your Vanguard, but you can also turn your Dragonic Overlord into a potential 15,000 attacker for your front row. And alrighty, the Grade 2 Dragonic Overlord, we have 1 in the right deck. Leaving it that way, next up, the Grade 2 Berserk Dragon. Skills, first, auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard Overlord in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of battle. Then, Counterblast 1. If the cost and paid, choose one of your opponent's Grade 2 or less rear guards and retire it. So for Berserk Dragon, a support card for the Overlord series with its skill, when attacking and as long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to turn your Berserk Dragon into a potential 15,000 point attacker for your front row, but you also have a chance to retire your opponent's field of rear guards, giving you a better advantage. And okay, the Grade 2 Berserk Dragon, we have 2 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 2 Steel Bullet Duststorm Ethan. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard's attack hits, cost, retire this unit. If the cost and pay, draw a card and countercharge 1. So for Ethan, a pretty good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with skill. As long as the conditions of the skill is met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards, but you can also refund your counterblast for later skills. And affirmative, the Grade 2 Steel Bullet Duststorm Ethan. We have 4 in the deck. And next up, the Grade 2 Blast Artillery Dragon Brachial Force. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When this unit attack hits, cost, retire this unit. If the cost and pay, draw a card and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So for Brachial Force, another good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. With its skill, as long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards, but you can also retire one of your opponent's rear guards, giving you a better advantage. And confirm, the Grade 2 Blast Artillery Dragon Brachial Force. We have 4 in the deck. And next up, for the Grade 2 lineup, we have the Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost and paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card of Overlord in its card name and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal a card, countercharge 1. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard of Overlord in its card name attacks, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Horn Dragon, another support card for the Overlord series with its skills, the first skill, just by calling Burning Horn to the rear guard and paying the cost, you have the chance to check the top cards of your deck for an Overlord to either ride with or to use for your later game strategy. And the best part about this first skill, it's refundable. In the off chance you fail to get any cards of the first skill, you can countercharge 1, thereby refunding the counterblast you paid for the first skill. And the second skill, as long as you attack your Vanguard Overlord first, your Burning Horn will receive plus 5,000 power. And the best part about this second skill, it's stackable. For the Dragonic Overlord series, specializes in restanding and attacking multiple times your Vanguard. So for every time your Vanguard attacks, you can keep stacking power to Burning Horn, turning your Burning Horn into a powerful front row attacker to either pressure or finish off your opponent's whiff. And alrighty, the Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon. We have 4 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 2 lineup. Next up, let's get on to the deck's Grade 1 lineup. And now, for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing right deck, Grade 1, Embodiment of Armor Bar. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is rolled upon by Dragon Knight Nehalem, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost and paid, search your deck for up to 1 Grade 1 card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto as a rear guard once per turn. When your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Bar, it's the main Grade 1 to ride this deck. If its skill is the first skill, when ridden on top of by Dragonic Overlord and paying the cost, you can then search your deck for any Grade 1 card to put into your hand to help your later game strategy. And the second skill, while you have Bar in the rear guard while the conditions of the second skill are met, you can then turn your Bar into a potential 13,000 point attacker for your front row or 13,000 point booster for your back row. And affirmative, the Grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar. We have 1 in the right deck. Next up, the Great One, Drag Ritter Mid-Hot. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When your units stand by your card's ability, cost, retire this unit. If the cost and paid, draw a card. So for Mid-Hot, a pretty good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks, especially for Overlord. With its skill, while in the rear guard while the condition of the skill is met and paying the cost, you can then draw more cards to restock your hand for either your defensive or offensive strategies later in the game. And confirm, the Great One, Drag Ritter Mid-Hot. We have 4 in the deck. And next up, the Great One, Drag Ritter Hull. Skills, first skill, continuous. When this card would be discarded from hand for the cost of an ability of your Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, it may be regarded as 2 cards. Second skill, auto. When this card is discarded from hand for the cost of an ability of your Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, you may call this card to the back row rear guard. If called, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Hulk, a support card for the Overlord series. If its skills, the first skill, when discarded from your hand for the cost of an Vanguard Overlord, it is treated as 2 cards instead, thus making it easier to reduce the cost you have to pay for a Vanguard Overlord's hand discard cost, for example the ends. And the second skill, when discarded from the hand for the cost of a Vanguard Overlord skill, you can then superior call Drag Ritter Hulk as a potential 13,000 point booster for your back row. And okay, the Great One, Drag Ritter Hulk, we have 4 in the deck. And next up, the Great One, Twin Buckler Dragon, Sentinel Perfect Guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So for Twin Buckler Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block an enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all D standard format perfect guards, which is, when used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Twin Buckler Dragon a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. And alrighty, the Great One, Twin Buckler Dragon, we have 3 in the deck. And next up, the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have up to 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in the deck. And third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard is triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Plays with a cost of, discard a card from your hand. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. And like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When played and discarding a card from your hand, you can block 1 enemy attack. But mainly, the Elementaria Sanctitude is a Perfect Guard that's best used against opponents who play decks with Vanguards who possess triple drive, for example, grade 4s or Vanguards who have their drive checks increased by skill or card effect. Against such opponents, your Elementaria Sanctitude then can serve as a potential no-cost Perfect Guard. And okie dokie, the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. We have 1 with the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Great One lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's Grade 0 lineup. And now, for the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing Right Deck, Grade 0, Lizard Runner Undo. Skill, Auto. When this unit is rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Undo, it's the starting unit's deck, and like any other starting unit in the D standard format, it features the same skill and activation. When ridden on top of, if you're the second to go, draw 1 card. And alright, the Grade 0 Lizard Runner Undo, we have 1 in the right deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Trigger lineup. And now, for the deck's Trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we are playing the Grade 0, Dragon DD King Resurgence, Drag Vita, Overtrigger. Skill, Trigger, Additional Effect. Choose one of your Vanguards and restand it. So for Drag Vita, it's the overtrigger for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other overtrigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or a damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card. But he also features an ability unique to him alone. When revealed during a drive check during your turn, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. And okie dokie, the Great Zero Dragon DD King of Resurgence Drag Vita Overtrigger. We have one in the deck. Next up, the Great Zero Burning Flail Dragon Critical Trigger. Skill Auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of the units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Flail Dragon, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill. After boosting the attack, regardless if the attack hits or not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but you can also give a little extra power to your remaining attackers in the field, Vanguard or Rear Guard. And affirmative, the Great Zero Burning Flail Dragon. We have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Great Zero Blaze War Monk Sogil Critical Trigger. We have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Great Zero Draw Trigger Flare Veil Dragon. Skill continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Flare Veil Dragon, a powerful draw trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Flare Veil then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. And alright, the Great Zero Flare Veil Dragon draw trigger, we have 3 in the deck. Next up, the Great 2 Stealth Fiend Amavira Heal Trigger. Skill Auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Amavira, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with her skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can then turn your Amavira into a potential 25,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Amavira is a counter heal, best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding their units for additional attacks, Vanguard or Rear Guard. And okie dokie, the Great Zero Stealth Fiend Amavira Heal Trigger. We have 2 in the deck. And next up, the Great Zero Cure Flare Draco Kid Heal Trigger. Skill Auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater, and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cure Flare Draco Kid, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. If its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can then turn your Cure Flare Draco Kid into a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. Ideally, Cure Flare Draco Kid is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical, Vanguard or Rear Guard by skill or card effect. And affirmative, the Great Zero Cure Flare Draco Kid Heal Trigger. We have 2 in the deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's build and card effects. And here we are, back in the Edit Deck menu. After having just explained the deck's build and card effects, so for the cards in this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord. 4. Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord The End. 2. Grade 2 Berserk Dragon. 1. Grade 2 Dragon Knight Nehalem. 4. Grade 2 Steel Bull of Duststorm Ethan. 4. Grade 2 Blast Artillery Dragon Brachial Force. 4. Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon. 3. Grade 1 Twin Buckler Dragon. 1. Grade 1 Blitz Order Elementaria Sanctitude. 1. Grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar. 4. Grade 1 Drag Ritter Mid-Hot. 4. Grade 1 Drag Ritter Hull. 1. Grade 0 Lizard Runner Undo Starting Unit. And for the triggers in this deck, we are playing 1. Overtrigger Drag Vita. 8. critical triggers. 3 draw triggers. And 4 heal triggers. And if that, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained. Now let's get on to testing of the deck. And now here we are back in the main menu, so let's head over to the fight menu. Going to CPU fight, selecting the deck I just built and explained, the Dragon Empires, Dragonic Overlord, D-BT07 deck. And selecting deck, now selecting an opponent. I'm gonna test the deck out on, let's see who would be a good opponent. How about I face off against Yu Kondo, normal difficulty. And the battle begins. Let's get started. And here we are in the fight, deciding who goes first. So, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock to rock, one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Again, one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Again, a tie. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper to scissors, I lose, going second. Drawing our starting hands, I got a Brachial Force, an Over Trigger, a Perfect Guard, a Keel Trigger, and a Burning Horn. Holding on to all normal units, redrawing triggers, redraw. Perfect Guard and Berserk Dragon, not a bad draw. My opponent's going first, he rides. The Great One, Blazeman and Reno. End of their turn, my turn, stand and draw. I ride from the right deck, Embodiment of Armor Bar. For the right deck cost, I guess I'll discard 1 Berserk Dragon, discard and ride. Next up, Undo skill, draw 1 card, here we go. Draw, drew a Midhat, not bad. So now, I'm gonna call Midhat to the back row over here. And on to battle phase. Boosted by Midhat, Bar attacks the Vanguard, 16k. The attack goes through, drive check. No trigger, the end, sweet, a Persona ride, lucky me. Slash and damage check. No trigger, safe. And that's the end of my turn, now it's my opponent's turn. My opponent rides the Great 2, Blazeman and Ryu. Reno skill, Superior calling Trickstar to rear guard. And calling the back row Mirin and a Tenji, a full formation, okie dokie then, Let's see, 8k from the rear guard, 10k and 11k. I don't really have any cards to guard with, so I'll let this first attack go through, no guard. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check. Yes, a heal trigger! I cannot heal, but power to the Vanguard. Power up and 18k. Vanguard to Vanguard, that takes 1 trigger to pass, the rear guard cannot go through. No guard, gonna take it. Damn, drive check. Ah, critical trigger, lucky for my opponent. The attack goes through and I take 2 damage. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check first. Yes, a draw trigger, lucky. Power up. And draw 1 card, I drew another Perfect Guard, great draw. Second check. A Brachial Force, not good. That's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn, stand and draw. I ride from the right deck, Dragon Knight Nehalem. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding, I'm gonna discard Flareveil Dragon, discard and ride Nehalem. Skill of Bar. I'm gonna counterblast 1, counter blast, and search my deck for a Great One. Let's see. In my hand, I already have a bunch of Perfect Guards, so I'm gonna secure Drag Raider Halt in my hand, adding to hand. There we go. And now to the rear guard, I'm calling Brachial Force and Steel Blood, Duststorm Ethan, call. That ought to do it. On to battle phase. First up, my rear guard Ethan attacks the rear guard. Should I attack Mirin or Tenji? Tough choice. Let's see. Mirin powers up and gives cards to the soul, and Tenji lets him choose a card from hand, discard and draw more cards. I think I better retire 10G since it has more power and a more usable skill. Attack! 9K to 8K. The attack goes through and bang, bang, bang. One less rear guard to worry about. Now, boosted by mid-hot. My Vanguard Nehalem attacks the Vanguard. 18K. The attack goes through. Drive check. No trigger. The end. Another Persona Ride. Not too bad. And Pierce. 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger. Safe. Then here comes Ethan's skill. Self-retreat. And I draw a card and countercharge. Draw a Burning Horn and countercharge. Now, Brachial Force. I'm going to attack the Vanguard. 10K to 10K. The attack goes through and boom! 1 more damage. Damage check. No trigger, safe. And here comes Brachio's skill. I self-retreat and retire one of my opponent's rear guards and draw a card. Retiring Mirren and Drew, I drew another Burning Horn. Not too bad. End of my turn, my opponent's turn. My opponent's riding their Grade 3, Chakra Bar to Divine Dragon Nirvana. Skill of Ryu, searching his deck for 1 Virina to hand. He can overdress this turn. Here comes Overdress Virina and calling the Grade 3 Damari. Vanguard to Vanguard, skill of Nirvana. He's gonna counterblast 1 and power up Vanguard and Virina. No guard, gonna take it. Here comes Twin Drop, first check. No trigger, no Persona Ride, lucky him. Second check. No trigger, and the perfect guard, another good card. Alright, here it comes, 1 damage. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, perfect guard. Lost a valuable card. Here comes the weird guard Damari. I'm gonna guard with 1 Burning Horn since I have 3 copies. Just gonna keep 2 in my hand. Guard. And the attack is blocked. And Tachink, safe. Now 1 attack from Virina. Overdress skill, an additional 10,000 power. Is he gonna use his skill to retire my rear guard? Yep, retiring mid-hot. Sorry mid-hot. 4 damage, alright. I'm gonna perfect guard with Elementaria Sanctitude. Discarding from my hands, I have 2 copies of the ends, and I have Burning Horn to search again, so just gonna ditch 1 the end and perfect guard. Here it comes, the attack is blocked, and ka-chink, safe. End of their turn, my turn, stand and draw. Drew another Brachial Force, not bad. I ride from the right deck, Dragonic Overlord. For the right deck cost, discarding. I'm discarding 1 Burning Horn, discard, and ride Dragonic Overlord. Next up, Nehalem's skill, Superior Call from the Soul to the rear guard. Call. And then Nehalem's skill, Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, and give himself an Overlord plus 5,000 power. Looking good, and now moving Nehalem to the back row, I call Burning Horn Dragon. Burning Horn skill, Counterblast 1, Counterblast, and search the top cards of my deck for an Overlord. And yes, the final copy of the end in my deck, adding to hand. There we go, and shuffle. Next, I call Brachial Force to the rear guard. Call. That ought to do it, so let's head on to the battle phase. First up, Overlord attacks the rear guard Damari, 18k. And Burning Horn skill, an additional 5,000 power. The attack goes through. Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, mid-hot. And second check. Yes, a heal trigger, lucky. I heal 1 point of damage and give power to Brachial Force. Healing and power up. The attack slashes him, slash, and the attack hit. The Overlord skill, Counterblast 1 and discarding 1 card from hand. I discard Halb, and here we go. Activating Overlord skill and restand my Vanguard and Superior Call Dragritter Halb to the rear guard. Superior calling him to the left column behind Burning Horn Dragon. Power up, there we go, and 1 rear guard down, 1 less to worry about. Here we go. Brachio Force attacks the Vanguard, 20k. He guards my heal trigger, 28k, attack blocked, and the attack fails, but now he has 4 cards left in hand, so Overlord attacks the Vanguard, 18k. Burning Horn skill, additional 5,000 power. And the attack goes through, drive check. No trigger, Ethan, so 1 damage to the opponent, and here we go. Slash, 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 cut, 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 and damage check. No trigger, perfect guard, safe. And now, boosted by Hull, Burning Horn attacks the Vanguard. Total of 33,000 power to the Vanguard. The attack goes through, and boom! Damage check. Critical trigger, sweet, he wasted a trigger. Trigger effect wasted. And that's gonna be it from my turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. Now my opponent's going to Persona Ride. I knew that was coming. Persona Riding Nirvana, powering up and calling to the rear guard, Sonya. Sonya's skill, Soul Blast 1 and 10,000 power to herself. Not good. And the back row calling a Mirren. Alright. Nirvana attacks the Vanguard. Skill of Nirvana, he's gonna counter blast in, power up himself, and Virina. That's a lot of power. I better play it safe. I can't risk a double critical, so perfect guard with Twin Buckler Dragon. Perfect guard. And for the cost of Twin Buckler, I'm gonna discard. Gotta hold on to a perfect guard and a shield and Persona Rides as well, so I gotta hold on to Mid-Hot to boost my Vanguard. So just gonna discard Ethan, discard, and perfect guard activated. Twin Drive, first check, no trigger, safe. Second check. Ah, critical trigger, lucky him. He powers up. The rear guard Sonya. Oh, that's a lot of power and critical as well, so cut, chink, safe. And now here comes an attack from the rear guard Sonya for a total of 46,000 power. I can't risk it. Perfect guard again with Twin Buckler Dragon. Twin Buckler skill, discarding 1 card. I'm discarding the end. Hold on. Yep, discarding the end and perfect guard. And ka-chink, safe. Now 1 final attack from Virina. Overdress skill, an additional 10,000 power with 40,000 power to the Vanguard. I only have 3 damage, so just gonna take it. No guard. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, Ethan, so that's 4 damage to me. End of my opponent's turn. Now it's my turn. Stand and draw. I gotta end it here, so it's time. Cross ride to Dragonic Overlord, the end. Here we go. Cross ride. Power up. And now Nehalem skill. Soul Blast 1, Soul Blasting bar, and another 5,000 power to my Vanguard. Looking good. And now powering up Nehalem. And I'm gonna call Mid-Hot to the rear guard. Call. And there we go. Now on to battle phase. First up, Brachio Force attacks Virina, 10k to 10k. The attack goes through, and boom! 1 less rear guard to worry about. Brachio skill. Self-retreat and retire 1 more rear guard. And I draw a card. Draw a critical, retiring the remaining grade 2 Sonya. Both intercepts retire, and now boosted by Mid-Hot. The end attacks the Vanguard. 31,000 power. And Burning Horn skill, another 5,000 power. Will the attack go through? And double guard, 43 to the pass. Twin Drive, first check. Yes, a critical trigger, just what I needed. I give all effects to the Vanguard. Power up and critical up. And now second check. Yes, double critical. Giving it all to the Vanguard. Power up and critical up. The guard is broken. And here we go, the end skill. And slash, 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 bang, 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 boom. Guard broken, and 1 damage, 6 damage, I win. That was a pretty okay fight. I got to use the cards in this deck pretty well, I guess. So I got Win, double critical, double trigger, attack 50,000 more power, perfect guard 3 times, drew 3 more times in a row, 6 turns passed, did a superior call, retired 5 opposing units, and drew 3 more times in 1 turn. I got 2,700 VP, 9075 VP, pressing A to go next, and leaving the fight, returning to the fight menu, leaving the fight menu, returning to main menu, and back to the main menu, onto edit deck menu. And with that, the deck has been built, Cardfight is explained, and I just finished testing the deck out in front of you. So, first I want to say is, thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that I say, goodbye and see you.